All right, first question. When were you born?
October 31st, 1941.
1941, okay.
Just before the war.
Do you recollect anything about the Cuban Missile Crisis?
I recollect a lot about it.
Okay, go ahead and do share.
I was in the Air Force, stationed at McCoy Air Force Base, which is now the Orlando International Airport. They closed it. I was stationed there during the Cuban crisis, and we were flying radar picket ships, did the pre-runner to the AWACS that they now use to track aircraft with. And we were flying from Miami to Key West, and then we had another 2 airplanes that was flying tracks, and where they were flying at was classified. But when they came back, the first thing they had to do was wash the salt water off of them, so we kind of figured they were flying rather low.
So what exactly do you remember about that specific event, like that day?
Well, I was working night shift, and just as we was getting ready to go off shift, there was a couple of F-105s came in and landed, and they parked in front of our shop, which was not unusual. There was a gun range down there, and they came down all the time. So we didn't pay much attention to it. Only trouble is we didn't know they came in all night long. And we heard a bunch of commotion the next morning, so just out of curiosity, we drove down to the flight line, and there was about 35 or 40 F-105s, and behind them was about that number of F-100s, and we're saying, wait a minute, what's going on here? This is not normal. And while we were there was a bunch of C-130s came in, troop transports, and they were unloading Marines and Army personnel. And we was saying, what's going on here? There's something funky going on here. So we went back to the dorm, and when we got back there, we found out they were having a commander's call, and we were supposed to meet over in the base gym, or auditorium. And so we all went over there, and we figured something was up. When we got over there, they had guards around the building. And we went in, and our commander showed us a bunch of pictures that was taken by U-2. And we're saying, where did it come from? And they were showing us pictures of Cuba with the missiles and stuff around. Of course, it was highly classified at the time. And we were informed that the guys that lived off base to go home, pack their bag, and come back. And us guys that was living on the base was told that where we had 2 guys to a room, we were getting ready to put 4 in a room, so we'd have room for the incoming crews that was coming in from California that were flying the same kind of airplanes we were. McCoy at that time belonged to 8th Air Force, which means there was B-52 bombers all over the place. And they started leaving. They all left, every one of them. And the C-130s, which is the air refueling aircraft, they all left too. And they were being replaced by F-100s and F-105s. And they started building napalm in front of our shop. The napalm tanks, so that's that fire stuff now. And F-102, 102 millimeter Gatling gun ammunition was stacked 20 feet high out in front of our shop.
So you were preparing for...
They were preparing for war. And we're sitting there saying, what's going on? And all of our flight crew, our aircraft carried 13 men. And they were all issued sidearms. And we started flying some unbelievable schedules. We were put on a 12-hour on, 12-hour off, 7-day-a-week work schedule. They sent all those wonderful airplanes in from California. They didn't send any maintenance people with them. We had only 6 airplanes to start up with, so that's all the maintenance people we had for the whole shebang. So we worked on a lot of airplanes for a long time.
When did they start like informing you about the whole missile crisis, or did you already know? Like
When we went to the commander's call, that's when we found out about it.
that they had missiles in Cuba.
Oh, we saw the missiles.
And what was your reaction to it?
We wanted to know how far they would reach with them missiles. We were told that they could reach as far as Washington, D.C. or New Orleans. And we're well within the strike zone. We had 101st Airborne stationed around. They had tents everywhere. We laughed about there was some pipes that went across the ditch there. In Florida, it rains a lot, so you got a lot of ditches. They greased the pipes to keep the GIs off of them, so they wouldn't walk on the pipes.
So you'd slip every
Yeah,
time.
you slipped, you'd hurt yourself.
Okay, so what else do you want to talk about? Like there was something you were talking about, like every other man in Vietnam or something. What was that?
Oh yeah, one of our guys went to Vietnam as one of the advisors, and they were building the Air Force base there. And Charlie slipped in one night, and all the guys was at that time living in tents. And anyway, Charlie wanted to scare everybody to death, and he did. They went through the tents, 2-man tents, and they slit the throats of every other man.
Every other.
Yeah, every other man. Yeah, scared the snot out of the boys. And he said the end result was that they flattened the ground. I mean, nothing. Anything bigger than about 1.5 inches tall, they either dug up or blew it up. And it was charred earth all over the place. And they were building the base there at Cameron Bay.
So it must have been pretty scary. How were times back then like different from now? How are they different? Like,
Well, for one thing, the general public, or at least the kids in school, didn't agree with the war in Vietnam. And the warriors, the soldiers that came back were spit on and cussed at, and they were treated very badly, really were. Compared to guys coming back nowadays, they're at least appreciated, to a certain extent. Yeah, it was kind of bad, disgusting, really, as far as we were concerned. Our outfit did not go to Vietnam. Our outfit went to Thailand, and we were flying out of Thailand into North Vietnam. We had reconnaissance aircraft taking pictures, and we lost a couple of airplanes and some crew. But yeah, it was a little different.
all right, thanks, Grandpa.
Okay.